Okay, would you say leaking your opening statement to Punchbowl News, Politico's Playbook, and Washington Post several hours before you sent it to this committee as being political? Yes or no?
I have no idea how my statement got out.
Whoa, hey, that is bullshit.
That's bullshit. Bullshit.
Well, that's bullshit.
That's a lot of bullshit.
You're full of
I'll tell you.
Congresswoman, I just want to thank you for what you did yesterday. There were a lot of moments, but you really took it to her. And your line of questioning was so devastating.
Yeah, I was simply saying aloud what every American was thinking in that hearing yesterday. You just saw minute after minute Kim Cheatle dodging, denying, being dishonest with Congress. She refused to answer even the most basic questions. She couldn't even tell us the number of Secret Service agents on site at the rally protecting Donald Trump. This should never happen in America. But with Joe Biden's failure culture, people lie, they deny, and they never get fired. And so obviously we're taking a victory lap today about her resignation. I was willing to force a vote, even against leadership's own will. They didn't want to take this vote, but I forced a vote last night within the next 48 hours to impeach her. If she wasn't going to be fired, if she wasn't going to be willing to resign, it's far past time for Congress to actually do something. No more strong letters. Let's take action. And this was a defining moment for our country. You saw Democrats and Republicans alike. Donald Trump is unifying America. And that is better for our country to get us out of the crisis and the chaos we see ourselves in today.
And Congresswoman, you saw her effectively reject your questions outright about the snipers having a bead on the assassin for 50 plus minutes, for an hour. Let's just round it out. Congresswoman, he was able to do this.
Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Tapped out. Okay, am I back on? I tapped out for a second.
Yes, we are back on and we are live.
He
we thank you for
refused to answer any of my questions. I mean, my stuff was really basic. It was either a yes or a no when I took it to her about her transparency or lack thereof. She didn't even wouldn't admit how long the law enforcement agents knew that the shooter was on site. They had photos of him and knew of his existence for 57 minutes, almost an hour, as you say. And they did nothing. And somebody has to answer for that. But her resignation does not end the investigation. We have to continue on. She can still be subpoenaed and be required to show up before Congress and any special committee that we create in Congress to investigate what happened, because she has to answer for it. And heads should roll. She shouldn't be the only one to resign. We need to overhaul the Secret Service and start over.
So here we go. Next question. You said that it doesn't end with the resignation. That's not your escape card here.
No.
Do you believe that criminal negligence and perhaps manslaughter charges, because of course a patriot and a innocent man and a firefighter and a father and a beautiful individual named Corey Compatore lost his life. The negligence of the Secret Service led to dead Americans at a political rally. You hold political rallies in your district and across America. People should feel safe, right? Going to those. Like, shouldn't there be criminal consequences for the people that led to the mistakes that led to his death?
Depending on how all this went down, when we get the facts, we can make that determination. But criminally right now, I believe that Kim Cheatle can also be held in contempt of Congress. When you come before Congress and you purposely do not answer the questions, we can file a contempt of Congress as criminal charges against her. And I talked with leadership on the Oversight Committee yesterday as being a next step to hold her accountable, because no one's ever fired, no one ever goes away, no one's ever held responsible for their incompetency. And she was at the top. And if anyone else was culpable or involved, then and if the charges are appropriate, then they should be filed as well. We cannot let this go. Being quiet or not answering questions is not a defense. Resigning your job is not a defense. And we can still subpoena her and compel her to come before Congress. If he doesn't show up, that means jail time. We need people to answer our questions. We need people to be honest with Congress so we can get to the bottom of it, overhaul the Secret Service, do whatever we need to do to ensure that we keep Donald Trump safe.
Do you believe that they're going to continue to cooperate with you, it does feel as though for the first time ever, and we had the entire chat saying this, people were very proud of Congress yesterday. I mean, careers were made yesterday. Democrats, Republicans really came together and just laid the pain on this government agency that had failed. And it was a remarkable thing to see. People were very, very proud of you yesterday. It seems like this is an incredible moment to actually fix something and to I don't know, make an example of someone's failure and maybe improve an entire system. What could happen to Kimberly Cheatle? So you say hold her in contempt. Can you explain what that means? Like what pain could happen? Yeah.
Yes, that is a charge we can bring forward to Kim Cheatle for not answering our questions yesterday in our hearing. You can file a criminal contempt of Congress charges against her. The thing that I want to say, this is particularly true for people who haven't been supporting Donald Trump over the years or even recently, is that this is the man of the moment. This is a very historic time for our country. And he is the guy that is bringing everyone together. And it started with a defiant fist in the air moments after literally taking a bullet for his country. I live in a very purple district. I have independents, I have Democrats, I have Republicans. I have a very diverse political voter base, and everybody in the last 10 days has been remarkable. Everyone has had something to say. It's all been very positive. Even today and yesterday, I've heard from Democrats in my district, from Democrats across the country that feel great pride for being American, seeing how I fought back against the BS yesterday, how Republicans and Democrats are coming together. Donald Trump is the man of the moment. He is the one that is unifying the country and moving this forward, getting us out of the chaos, getting us out of the crisis. And I think this is a real moment for us as Americans. We have to decide what kind of country we're going to be and who our leader is going to take us out of this. And that man is Donald Trump. He's unifying and bringing everybody together. And we're seeing that every single day. That's what you saw yesterday. I saw Democrats that I never thought that would get on board with us hand-wringing with their frustration over Kim Cheatle and supporting her resignation.
Congresswoman, do you believe that there was somewhere inside of the federal government either designed incompetence in order to make Donald Trump susceptible to a potential assassin, or that there was a plot to create the conditions so that President Trump would get shot? These were questions that were asked yesterday. Cheatle, of course, said nothing, but at some level, paraphrasing Elon Musk, gross negligence is indistinguishable from malevolence.
Right. At this point, there are only two options. It's either incompetence or it's conspiracy. Those are the only two options. Neither of them are good or should make anyone in America feel safe. And so we've got to get to the bottom of it, which is why I'm encouraging doing a special committee, doing the investigations on everything. We need to have Christopher Wray come in. We need the FBI to come in. We need Secretary Mayorkas to come in. If he needs to be impeached again, let's do it over again. I mean, these people are not off the hook. They should not be. But this is the failure culture of the Biden administration. Joe Biden was silent on Kim Cheatle. Kamala Harris, silent on Kim Cheatle. It took me forcing a vote, a privileged motion to impeach Kim Cheatle to get her to resign. This is where we are in America. We need people with strong backbones who are going to stand up and do the right thing for a fellow American. And I need all the help I can get. If folks can go out to nancymace.org, support us. I have been against the establishment for a very long time. They've spent millions of dollars against me in every election. But when we have leadership at the table, when we have conservatives who are willing to stand up, we absolutely can make a difference. And that's what we have done as a country over the last 24 hours. And y'all give me the courage to keep standing strong and speaking out and being strong force for every American across the country. And I want to say thank you.
Congresswoman, a select committee, right? There was one for January 6th. Why not one for this? Where's Mike Johnson on that? Like, where's the leadership on that? A select committee obviously could get a lot of money, could get a phalanx of lawyers, could have very scary powers that would really get to the bottom of this, presumably.
Right. And we're in the process. I've heard from Johnson, whether it's a select committee or some other type of special committee, he is willing to have a committee come together, both Republicans and Democrats, to continue this investigation. This should not just end with hearings. I'm quite frankly tired of hearings that have no outcomes. I want action. I want people to be fired. I want to overhaul the Secret Service. And I want the American people, more importantly, to get all of the answers to all of their questions. This should never happen in the United States of America. And we need to ensure that it never does again.
Yeah. Okay. So something crazy is how, you brought up Joe Biden not calling for the resignation of Cheatle. Many are speculating about Joe Biden's condition. There are reports that Joe Biden had a horrible medical episode in Las Vegas and caused him to have to emergency go back home. And that so much of what's been going on right now is because Joe Biden isn't present, and Kimberly Cheatle can she even resign when there's not a president to appoint someone else? I mean, these are big constitutional questions. Can you comment on Joe Biden being effectively absent for the last week? No one's seen him. What's going on?
In the military, Benny, they call this AWOL, being absent without leave. He's canceled every event for like the next 9 days. He's slated to now give a speech to the country, I believe, tomorrow night. I'm very curious to hear what he's going to have to say here. I did file a resolution yesterday encouraging the vice president to invoke the 25th Amendment. We know that he's not in charge. We know that he's not the one making the decisions. So who actually is behind the curtain? This is like a Wizard of Oz administration. We don't know who's behind the curtain. We don't know who's in charge. We don't know who's making decisions right now.
So this is the reporting out, and we're going to cover this later in the show, but we might as well just talk about it really quickly here, that Joe Biden suffered something that was akin to stroke-like symptoms in Las Vegas, and yet they're going to still allow him to be president of the United States. Kamala Harris getting anointed without a single vote. Nobody voted for her in 2020. She didn't get a single delegate at the convention. And now the entire party just flipped to Kamala Harris, and they scream at you day and night, Congresswoman, because you're a threat to democracy.
Yeah, no, an anointing. And in fact, it's so ironic here and hypocritical. The same very people on the left who was accusing the right of being a threat to democracy, we're an assault on democracy, we attack democracy, are literally the ones that are threatening democracy. They are anointing Kamala Harris as if she's royalty. And by the way, the DNC convention rules are an open convention. Nothing is a sure bet at this point, unless they rewrite, as I suspect, they'll rewrite their rules ahead of time before the convention to guarantee that she gets coronated without having to go through a primary, without having to go through an election. She gets coronated to be their nominee. They were the ones that threw Donald Trump off the ballot, literally threw the guy off the ballot because they didn't like him for no constitutional reason whatsoever. And of course, the Supreme Court did their duty and reinstated that and allowed him back on the ballot, as they should have. But the very people who are telling us we're a threat to the democracy are literally the ones acting as if they're a threat to democracy, doing everything that's unconstitutional, that our founders would scoff at and be shocked by their behavior. They're the ones that are doing it. And the other thing that I want to say too, Benny, is that it doesn't matter who Democrats put on the top of the ticket. Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, his family, the administration, along with their friends in the mainstream media and the mainstream press, have been covering up his condition, whether it's a stroke, whether it's his mental acuity, his cognitive decline. This is clearly a deeply diminished individual, and they've all been party to the cover-up. They have been lying to the American people. They've been dishonest with the American people. They've been covering up his condition. And now all of a sudden that he's not running for re-election, we're hearing all these stories from behind the scenes from Democrats who have met with him in the last year or two and were deeply disturbed by his behavior. And now all the stories are coming out. Well, they can't hide behind their dishonesty. There's only the truth now. And the American people know they've been lied to. Good luck continuing to defend that behavior, because I think there are two types of people in this world: people who have to be right, and those just simply want the truth. And the vast majority of Americans only want honesty and truth from their elected leaders, and they've not been getting it from the Democrats.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like the shooting of President Trump in the head is kind of a last final desperate gasp for a movement that tried to politically assassinate President Trump, tried to assassinate President Trump, tried to legally assassinate President Trump, and they foment their base, calling him Hitler day and night. And what do you expect, right? And then the Secret Service, of course, creates conditions for President Trump to get shot in the head. We loved seeing your questions yesterday. We'd love to see that energy carried forward into a Republican Congress that wins seats, that has the Republican Senate, and has President Trump inside of the White House. You were at the Republican convention, gave an incredible speech. Can you give us sort of a path forward? Will we be able to see more oversight like that from the, I'm going to paraphrase Tim Burchett here, DEI nightmares of the Biden regime?
Well, we're going to have to. And here's the thing. I believe with Donald Trump in the White House, we're going to win even a larger majority in the U.S. House. We will flip the Senate. So
Yes.
my compelling argument here is, what are we going to do with it? Are we going to do as we have always done, which is nothing? What action are we going to take to hold people truly accountable for their behavior? What are we going to do as Republicans to shut down the border and deport those who are here illegally? What are we going to do about the excessive spending of both parties that put us into the inflation nightmare we have today? And what are we going to do to ensure that every American can prosper, work and retire in the greatest nation in the world? How are we going to end the endless wars? How are we going to ensure that we're going to protect women? What are we actually going to do with the supermajority and the power and the opportunity and the great responsibility that we will have as a party to ensure that our leadership is sustainable for years and decades to come? And that is my ask of everyone within our party, every Benny Johnson fan, every person part of the MAGA movement, that we hold our leaders accountable. It's not enough to say what we're going to do and write strong letters. What action are we going to take to make a real difference in the lives of every hardworking American and ensure that we protect our Constitution and our country forever into the future?
Well, I'm just so excited I was so excited to have you on the show today, based on obviously your clip yesterday that just went so thermonuclear. But since we are in a breaking news environment and Cheatle is now gone, and I think you had a huge hand to play in that, just wanted to give you the floor, Congresswoman, and your parting comments to Kim Cheatle, please, if you would.
2 words: good riddance. That's really all I have to say about that. I mean, it's past time. We're 10 days in. She finally resigned, only from pressure of having a privilege motion to impeach her. If she weren't going to be fired, she needed to resign. We'll take a victory lap today. But also, this isn't about me. This isn't about the hearing yesterday. This is about the American people and ensuring that we have elected officials that are working on your behalf, that are taking action that has real results. And I am enormously proud to be a part of that effort to get her out of her position as the director of Secret Service. But we cannot stop there. We need American voices speaking up, encouraging our elected leaders to do the right thing, not just now, but every single time into the future. And I guess, I just want to ask for help and support. Folks can come out and support us at nancymace.org. Our country needs strong leaders now more than ever.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have Nancy Mace's social media here. Please follow Nancy Mace on X. 250, that 250,000 followers. Let's go, baby. We're on our way to 1 million. Nancy Mace from a beautiful actual part of South Carolina, and an amazing part of the country and world, dynamically representing her incredible district, and doing so, making all of us proud. Thank you, Congresswoman.
Thank you, and God bless.